Into a drug-using life. My mother and father have always used drugs. I have very few memories of them not using drugs or drinking. I've even used drugs with them myself. The only time my mom was clean was when she was in probation or in jail or in a best care facility, which only to overdose and die 2 weeks after she got out. My sister found her first, tried to do CPR on her, didn't plug her nose and bloodshot on her face. I got to hold her next. She was already gone. There was no saving her. All I could do was hold her and cry. My dad is currently still using drugs. I just wait for the phone call to hear he's dead too. You'd think I would have learned from that, but no. I go on, have 3 beautiful children, Isabel, Annabelle, and Arlene, only to use drugs, the last 2 I was pregnant with, and to sell drugs. My kids have paid so much for this. My kids have paid so much for my drug-using lifestyle. I've made them lack of schooling because I could not get up to take them to school. Health for missing doctor's appointments. Learning God's Word because, of course, I couldn't wake up to take them to church. Isabel, my oldest daughter, broke her arm when I was sleeping. I've been up high for 4 days on Seroquel, and I took a Seroquel, and the 3 of them could not wake me up. They had to call my sister to come 30 miles away to take her to the ER. She had broke her arm in 3 places. I woke up with my sister and my kids looking at me. They already had her arm fixed and cast on. Sister was disappointed. Kids were asking why I didn't wake up to help. But the kids loved me so much, they didn't ask anyone for help because they were scared that welfare would take them away like they had before. My sister had to drive 30 miles to help them. I could only begin to match the pain she must have been feeling. The sickest part of all is I never told her I was sorry. The sorry she deserves for me to get on my knees to tell her. The whole world has been centered around finding, getting, using, and wanting drugs. That was my world. So because of that, I lost my sister, I lost my kids, I've lost my husband, my home, living in a shed with a needle in my arm. Satan's always on my back. I've lost everything great God had ever given me. I felt like a bad dog just needing put down. There was no hope for me. But guess what? Because of God's kindness, understanding, forgiveness, dying for my sins on the cross, I've been given another chance. My cries were heard, and I am now clean off drugs, living at Hannah's house / Teen Challenge with the most beautiful women I've ever met. Learning to live by rules and to follow them and not just break them. I have my sister back, working on fixing the relationship with my children. So my kids can grow up with a mother that loves them and God and not have a love for drugs. With drugs, Satan comes. I have no room for Satan today, only my loved ones and God. And I'd like to read a scripture for you guys, the Psalms for me. I love the Lord because He hears my prayers, because He bends down to listen. I will pray as long as I have a breath in me. Death had his hands around my throat and tangled a grave over me. I saw only trouble and sorrow. Then I called on the Lord. Oh Lord, please save me. How kind He is, how good He is. His mercy, the Lord protects His children like faith. I was facing death, and then He saved me. Now I can rest, and that's my story.